Hey guys, this is Pumpkin. Today we're going to show you how to make a really easy eclair recipe. Now eclairs are just a really awesome and delicious pastry filled with a vanilla cream and covered with chocolate ganache. They are so delicious. They taste like they're from a bakery, and they're actually really easy to make, if a little time consuming, but so worth it. And Pumpkin and I are going to show you how to make them. Now there's three parts to our eclairs. We've got the pâte dough, the vanilla pastry cream filling, and the chocolate ganache. We are going to start with the vanilla pastry cream because it takes a couple hours for it to chill. The ingredients you're going to need for this pastry cream are some sugar, kosher salt, cake flour, a little vanilla extract, some whole milk, and a couple egg yolks. The first thing we're going to do is whisk together the sugar, flour, and salt. The next thing we're going to do is whisk together our egg yolks for about 30 seconds until they're well combined. Now we're going to slowly whisk in our cake flour and sugar mixture until it's fully combined. It's going to be very thick and pasty. Now I'm going to warm up some milk over medium heat until it starts to bubble. Now I grabbed a bit of the really warm milk and we're just going to whisk it in just a little bit at a time. You want to make sure that you're constantly whisking it because you don't want those eggs to scramble. Now I'm going to whisk in the rest, just being slow and careful. Now we're going to pour the mixture back into the saucepan. Now as you can see, it came to a boil and now it's nice and thick. Now we're going to remove it from the heat. Now I'm going to press the pastry cream through a strainer just to make sure it's totally smooth and that there are no imperfections. Make sure you get the back of it too. Now we're going to place this into a Tupperware container. Whisk in a splash of vanilla. Now I'm going to press some plastic wrap on top, and this is going to prevent a skin from forming on our pastry cream. Just make sure that every part is covered by plastic wrap. And we're going to refrigerate this for 2 hours or overnight. So I chilled my pastry cream overnight. The next thing we're going to get started on is our eclair dough. So the ingredients you're going to need for this dough are half a cup of all-purpose flour, some whole milk mixed with some water, 3 room temperature eggs, 2 for the pastry dough and 1 for the egg wash, 4 tablespoons of butter, and some sugar mixed with a pinch of salt. I've got my milk, butter, sugar, and salt in a saucepan, and I'm bringing it to a boil over medium-high heat. Once it's all melted and bubbly, I'm going to add all my all-purpose flour. Now we're going to turn down the heat to medium-low and start stirring. You want to stir until your dough comes together and is very smooth and a crust starts to form on the bottom of the pan. So now my dough is done. It's totally smooth and a crust has formed on the bottom of the pan. Now I've got my stand mixer fitted with the paddle attachment. I'm going to add my dough. Now I've let the dough sit for a minute just to cool down, and then we're going to add our eggs one at a time. Now the dough might look a little curdled while you're mixing it, but just make sure to thoroughly beat each egg and it'll come together perfectly. Now I've got a large disposable pastry bag fitted with just a plain large tip. I'm going to place this over a large cup. Now I'm just going to pull off this in there. Perfect. I've got a baking sheet lined with a silicone baking mat. You want to make sure that you use either a silicone baking mat or parchment paper because if you use foil, these eclairs will stick to it. Now we're just going to pipe some lengths of dough. We just want them to be about hot dog length. Just pull up a little bit at the end. Now I've got an egg wash here, which is just an egg beat with a little bit of water. I'm going to brush it over the eclairs. This is gonna make them a beautiful golden brown. And we're just gonna dot our fingers over any little imperfections just so that they're nice and smooth. Now we're gonna bake these at 425 degrees for about 15 minutes. Then we're gonna turn down the heat to 375 and bake them until they're golden brown. Now while my eclairs are baking, I'm gonna finish up the pastry cream. So I've got about half a cup of heavy cream. Put this into the bowl of my stand mixer. And I've got this fitted with the whisk attachment. I'm just going to beat this over medium-high until it's pretty stiff peaks. So my cream is whipped. I've got my pastry cream in a bowl. Now I'm going to add a little bit of my whipped cream just to loosen up the pastry cream. I'm going to whisk it in there. Now that it's loosened up a little bit, I'm going to add the rest of my whipped cream. Now I've got another disposable piping bag fitted with a star tip. Place this over a cup. Just going to dollop the pastry cream in there. And the whipped cream makes the texture lighter and gives it this really delicious flavor. Make sure you get every drop because you do not want to waste this. Now our pastry cream is all done. My eclairs have been sitting on a cooling rack for about half an hour. I wanted them to be totally cool. They baked at 425 degrees for 15 minutes and then I turned it down to 375 and baked them for about 7 or 8 more minutes. As you can see, they're fluffy on the inside and puffy on the outside. Now what we're going to do is take the tops off and put cream in the middle. There we go. So I just finished filling my pastries. They don't need to be overly full, but of course fill them as much as you'd like. The next thing I'm going to do is dip my tops in this chocolate ganache. Now this is just a couple ounces of semi-sweet chocolate, and I just added about 1/4 cup of really hot heavy cream, and I added a little bit of corn syrup to add a bit of shine. So I've got all of my eclair tops. I'm just going to dip each one into chocolate. Perfect. I'm just going to set that on the baking sheet, and I'm going to do that with the rest of them. Now I'm all done. We're going to let these chill in the fridge for about 45 minutes until they're nice and set. Now my chocolate ganache is just set and ready to go, and now we can finish off our pastries. I think I'm way too excited to try these. You see that? We've got the golden brown pastry, that vanilla cream lightened with the whipped cream, that chocolate ganache. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's try it. Look at that cream. You've got the crispness from that shell, the creaminess of that pastry filling, and it's so light even though I added heavy cream to it, which means it's not light at all. The richness of that ganache, which is perfect because this shell and the pastry cream aren't overly sweet. And then we've got a little bit of a shine because we added that bit of corn syrup. You guys have got to try these. They're so easy, a little time consuming, but I promise it will all pay off when you bite into one of these things. Oh my god. I've got full recipe amounts and instructions on my website. Click the link below to get to that. Hope you guys have a great day.